Hello, I'm Rags. Recently I was gifted with a game called 10-Minute Barbarian on Steam by a subscriber of mine. Thank you very much, I appreciate the gift, I truly do. Even though I'm about to take a massive shit all over it. 10-Minute Barbarian is available on Steam currently for the price of $6. I believe this is too much. I've currently played the game for around 5 hours, which is, well, a lot of time considering what 10-Minute Barbarian is. Currently, there are only 12 reviews of this game on Steam, and it's sitting at a 66 positive rating. Not for long, of course. Much like Necropolis, which is another game I'll get around to playing and streaming and reviewing later, the game has a solid foundation. It's very simple and easy to run, and it is indeed a quick game to play, thus the name. In 10-Minute Barbarian, you choose to be either a barbarian or a barbarianess, because there are only 2 genders. Nah! 10-Minute Barbarian starts with you in a mysterious land, and you have to move from tile to tile, revealing the land and interacting with the objects inside of it. You can find gold, you can traverse through enemy territory, which costs troops to do. You can cross over trees, which takes more time, as you have a time limit in terms of turns, until the apocalypse hits. When the apocalypse hits, demons spawn from Stonehenge-looking places on the map, and you have to defeat them to ultimately win the map, and proceed to the next one. There are other details in the game. For instance, you have to fight castles and enemy villages, which will then recruit units for you to use, and you use these units to engage in the battles to win the game. For those who are interested in such a thing, there is a score that's determined by how many villages you end up saving, or how quick you complete the map, or how quickly you unite the kingdom by defeating all of the castles and towns before the apocalypse hits, and other factors, such as your kill-to-death ratio in terms of your troops versus enemy troops. This part of the game, the way that the game is set up in terms of what you actually do, moving from place to place, conquering this spot, building up your army here, deciding, do I want to maybe attack this castle, do I want to go and get troops instead, all while understanding that there is a turn limit for the game, it does have a solid foundation here. Unfortunately, the devil's in the details, and there's a lot of details that this game gets wrong, and maybe some things that aren't so much details as they are foundational to the principles of the game. The game bills itself as a, unique strategy game that combines fast-paced exploration and even faster-paced action battles. Choose your battles, then watch as armies of hundreds crash castle walls, cast spells, and send fireballs into each other's ranks. What it does not tell you, however, that 90% of your army's actions in this game are completely out of your control and are automated. This is the primary problem with 10-Minute Barbarian. Your army is 90% automated by the computer, by the brain-dead, retarded, completely vacuous AI. Have you ever attempted to actually get ducks in a row? As the old saying says, I have. Don't ask how, it's a long story. Have you ever attempted to herd cats? Both of those things can be done with far more finesse than can your army be controlled in 10-Minute Barbarian. Your army is stupid beyond measure, and I even hesitate to use the word AI because, well, all your units really do is walk forwards and attack the first thing that they come across, be it an enemy unit, a barrier, anything. So far, I'm only able to control the cavalry units, which you can tell to go to one point and then to another, as you've been seeing in the video behind me. And after that, they will lose their orders and become automated like everyone else. Not only that, but the enemy's troops will do the exact same thing. They'll just move towards you. This is no Total War. In fact, a part of me hesitates to really call it a strategy game because your direct hand in these battles is so minimal. Most of the battles, you will have no control at all. And since you cannot see the battlefields that you'll be participating in until you're actually in them and cannot retreat, sometimes it's just a luck of the draw as to whether you will win a game or not, because you cannot control your army and you have no idea what their defenses are like. There are numbers on enemy bases, castles, villages that display the toughest unit that they have and a number corresponding to how many units there are. However, you don't know where the barriers are, you don't know what kind of units they are, and you don't know what their defenses are. So, fighting 100 units in one spot could be completely different than fighting 100 units in another spot. So there's an element of luck that is associated with the battles here. You don't know whether or not you could crush the enemy or get crushed. This would be much more forgivable, again, if you had more direct control over your units in more scenarios. And many times I have lost battles not because I lack the strength to defeat the enemy, but because the retards on my side chose to do things that were so counterproductive and stupid that I never had a chance to begin with. For instance, if there was an enemy barrier with archers behind it, unless you have a special item that allows you to direct the movements of your own troops, a novel idea, I know, in a strategy game, your characters will sit in front of the barrier instead of going around it and hit the barrier attempting to take it down so they can get to the archers behind it. I believe it's called the Banner of St. Kilda. As you're watching in the gameplay here, you can see me clicking on units and a green box popped up where I tell them to go places. That's the extent of the control you have over most of the units in the game. Unfortunately, you rarely actually have this item. But the foolishness and complete lack of thought that goes into the AI in this game extends not only with the way that they interact with the enemy and the enemy's defenses, but also with the way that they interact with themselves. For instance, a group of archers will proceed forward until the archers in the front row get within range of something that they can shoot arrows at, be it a barrier, or an enemy, or anything else. This means that the front row of archers will stop and attack whatever it is, which makes a traffic jam of martial proportions, holding up every single unit behind them, and when the archers in front die, the next archers move up until they are in range, essentially taking their place, so that even though you have a large horde conglomerate of archery units, only the ones in the front will actually be doing any archery. Add into the fact that not only can archers get stuck behind you, but any unit, for instance, peasants, which are normally put in the front of the battle, followed by knights and then archers and then your dragons. By the way, dragons, you click on places, they shoot a fireball, it kills or damages enemies. But you use the same button to hold over your troops and drag them with the Banner of St. Kilda, which means that if you misclick, you will essentially be shooting a fireball into your own ranks, which is not productive. There's also no way to pause these fights, so I might be telling all my guys here at the bottom to go around the barrier, because of course that's what you need to be doing, you stupid idiots, and at the same time, I have to click on enemies to shoot fireballs. There's no way to pause the game and issue multiple orders to get your units to do things that should be considered common sense by most people. It's maddening, it's frustrating, I have no control over 90% of what my army does. You lack the ability to position your units before a fight. So, while normally it seems reasonable to have the expendable peasants in the front to soak up damage and skirmish with the enemy, and then you have the knights behind them, then the archers behind them, there's no way to size the army up. So make the archers go up top, the knights at bottom, to spread out the peasants in whatever way you need to. It's just sort of, they're lined up, and you just hope you have enough. And I say hope you have enough because, again, these fights, you don't know what the fight will be before you get into it. You just get a very loose interpretation of the enemy's strength. Many times you'll go onto an enemy castle and you'll see, oh, they have their barrier set up like this. And since my army is retarded, that means I'm going to lose. Can you back out? No, you have to proceed with the battle and expend a checkpoint, which you only get one of. You can upgrade the capacity of different units that you have. So peasants you could buy upgrades for. You can buy upgrades for knights, which don't make the knights stronger or the peasants stronger or any unit stronger. It just lets you have more of them, which just adds to the potential clusterfuck that these battles can bring. These upgrades, though, differ from map to map. Some maps take place with lots of forest areas where there are mostly peasants on the battlefield. Some, it's mostly cavalry. Some, it's mostly knights. Maps are unique in a sense, but really once you've fought one battle, you've kind of fought them all. In the footage you're watching now, for instance, you can see how the knights get stuck behind the horsemen and the cavalry get stuck behind them, and they inch forward and they won't pass around each other as you would expect. And the archers in the front row here, they're shooting at the barrier and everyone behind them is held up, so I have cavalry waiting on the archers to proceed, and I can't micromanage every single unit because there's no way to slow time and there's no way to select units as a type. Just groups of units go over this way, and once they get to that spot, they'll just go back to an automated attack whatever's in front of you. The game has potential to be really fun. It looks good, the aesthetic is very simple, obviously it runs fine, even if it does seem to be capped at 30 FPS. Ultimately, the charming of the aesthetic and the fast pace, I don't know, the quick style of the combat here, it falls flat on its face because you lack so much control. The game says it's a unique strategy game, and I mean, it's unique in the sense that this is a strategy game where there's basically no strategy. If you were able to control units in a reasonable way, or an interesting way, or really in any way at all, then this could potentially be an excellent game for $6. Unfortunately, for the most part, battles seem to be simply throwing your horde against the enemy horde, crossing your fingers, and hoping for the best. Watching your army get slaughtered needlessly because they're stupid is never something that becomes enjoyable. Maybe they should call it 10-minute Barbarian because it takes about 10 minutes for you to experience the fullness of what this game truly has to offer.